Hey YouTube, today we're going to be looking at the Evolution Rage 3 miter saw. This is the little brother to the Rage 2. I had previously purchased the Rage 2 a while back to cut some metal, and it's a great chop saw for that purpose. I did a review of that one, and then Evolution saw it and asked me if I wanted to do a review of the miter saw. So of course I took them up on it. So this is what they sent me, along with a box of other goodies that we'll get to later on. We'll take a look at what's in here. I obviously checked these out on YouTube, so some of the other videos, as some of you probably already know, this thing comes in pieces, which kind of surprised me. So let's take a look at what you get in the box. So as you can see, there's a bunch of manuals here. This is the actual saw that we'll put in later on, but we'll take a look at that. We'll put this off to the side. This is actually the sliding mechanism, and it actually feels pretty beefy, so I was surprised by that. These are some guides that I guess you can use to measure out the stock that you're trying to cut. You know, usual dust bag. Don't ever really use these. But. And this is the, I guess, hold down clamp. So if you ever need to clamp down a piece of wood or metal or whatever, keep it safe. That's what you use, and then it comes with an Allen key, obviously. So, and here's another Allen key. So I guess they're two different sizes. This I don't remember seeing. I'm sure it's probably somewhere in those other videos, and we'll figure out what it is. This is the adjustment clamp and threaded rod. So I think this is the dust collection port stopper. So. And here's the actual saw itself. And let me stop the video here, take this out and line them up all so we can see them. Okay, so here's everything out of the box. There's quite a few pieces here. I think there's like some parts I'm not too familiar with, so I might have to go check some of those, the assembly video that Evolution put out, or actually read the manual. But let's take a quick look at what we've got here. So as you see, there's the manual, the main unit itself, along with those guides. That's the actual saw motor, bag, all the little bits and pieces, along with the Allen wrenches, the actual sliding mechanism, and the saw itself. So I'm going to turn off the video right now, go read through this instruction manual, and then try to figure out how to put this together, and I'll show you that process. So, alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so the first thing to assemble is the handle. So we take this little piece here and just slip her on, and it locks in place. If you want to release it, push down on this and pull it back off. But otherwise, just slip her on, we should be good. Next thing is we've got this handle here and a spacer. So it looks like the manual says that, you know, one of these two handles can come, one with a spacer, one without. That's a longer one. I got the one with a shorter handle with a spacer, so we're going to go ahead and put that on. Try and do this one-handed while I hold the camera. And then it just simply locks in place. And there we go. So loosened up a little, and you should be able to move this if I had two hands available. I'll try to do that. One sec. So as we see, we're back in alignment now. You can move it left or right, obviously, to get the kind of cut you want. Next thing is to put on the rails. So let me stop the camera and we'll do that next. Okay, the next thing is to put in the sliding assembly. So head's right here. Let's get this lined up. Pull out this little stopper. And it should be in place. We'll lock this down. And as you notice, this is color coded: red, white, red, white. So we'll just go ahead and slide this in. And we should be good there. Next step is to put the actual motor on, so let me get that. Okay, now we've got the motor assembly here. And this one's also color coded. So again, red dot and a white dot, just line them up and they should snap together. I made that look much harder than it was supposed to be. So all that really is, I didn't have them lined up properly, but there's a little plug here that once you snap it in place, I'm trying to pull it off. It's not going anywhere. If you wanted to do that, you'd have to take a screwdriver, press it down and then pull it off again. So it's locked in place, so we're good. Okay, next thing is to put on this little locking mechanism. So little springs already on there. Just tighten that down. And that'll keep your miter from going in and out, so if you want to lock it down in place and it's not going anywhere, but we'll loosen it up for right now. And then this little cable lock keeps this out of the way of your saw, so just go ahead and screw that down. And that should keep your cable from getting cut. So I think the next thing is probably assembling the actual saw, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install the blade now. Basically there's an arbor lock on the back here, you just need to press that. And obviously on spinning tools you want to go right instead of left to unlock this. So all this is the lockdown mechanism, a washer and a screw. So we'll put that aside. The arbor seems to be able to accept a 1-inch blade and a 5/8 blade. It looks like people used to say that it only accepted the 1-inch blade, which was kind of proprietary to Evolution and a few other blade manufacturers. So this looks like you have the flexibility to use any blade you want now. So that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a recent change or if people just didn't realize that the 5/8 on the back. So we'll go ahead and put that back on, and then hopefully go ahead and lock that in place. Take this very sharp blade out without cutting myself, hopefully. You can see that there's little carbide bits on the end of this, so that's what allows you to cut metal, things like that. And oddly enough, it says it's made in Japan, which is kind of rare these days. So, and as you see, it's the steel, aluminum, wood, and plastic blade. So this is the all-purpose blade. They actually sent me an aluminum blade too, which I'll try out a little bit later. And we'll see if it's any different between this and the aluminum blade. So we'll go ahead and put this in place. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. Let me get a better angle at this. Hold on one sec. Alright, let's try this again. So we'll just see if we can get the blade on this time without it doing something weird. Alright, so make sure the blade's on there. This is always the hardest part of putting these things on, keeping that blade from falling off the arbor. So we'll go ahead and tighten this, turn to the left. There we go. Go ahead and press the lockdown mechanism and then tighten her up. Make sure that blade's not wobbling. So we should be good. Alright. So next thing is to install the little accessories. Here's the hold down clamp. So we'll unscrew this and then unscrew the one in the back, and you should be able to just slide that in and lock this down in the back, and you can adjust it as you want and then lock it down. So pretty simple. These, obviously you can put these in, and there's a little screw right here which you use to tighten it down. I don't think I'll be using these honestly, so I'm going to take this one out. figured out what this little thing is. So it's actually a stopgap for this. So go ahead and put these on. Let's see if we can get that on there. There we go. And use these little screws to kind of lock it down wherever you want. So as you see it takes forever. And you put another one on the other side. And once you put it in here, you can adjust it as you need to. This one doesn't want to seem to go in. There we go. Oh, sort of. There we go. And you can adjust it as you need. You can make repetitive cuts with it. So I think I actually have that on there backwards. So flip that around next time you do it. That's me just trying to show you that I'm not going to use it anyway. So I'm going to take it out. And then this little plug is for the dust collector at the back. There's actually an adapter that comes with it as well, which you can use to hook up to your vacuum. Or in the case where you're not going to use the dust bag, go ahead and just put this little stopper in there and it'll keep stuff from flying out the back, especially when you're probably cutting metal. I don't think you want to use a dust bag for that because it's just going to mess everything up. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. As I was putting the machine together, I noticed a few things that I guess you can make adjustments on this as needed. So I'll show you two of the little things that I noticed. Right here, there's like two little Allen screws that stick up. So when you're going from 0 to 45 degrees, if this thing's not totally parallel, you can adjust these screws as needed. I'm not going to bother doing that today. Right now I'm just going to go ahead and test to see how it cuts, but if you need to make fine-tune adjustments, that's the way you do it. And then on the back here, let me get this out of the way. Oh well, that didn't make much difference. There's two screws here and then two on the other side over here where you can actually adjust the fence. So if it's off kilter a little, you can adjust those four, square it up and make fine-tune adjustments there, which I'm assuming you're going to need because this didn't come from the factory fully assembled, so there's probably a few things that are out of whack here. But it's nice to know that you have the option to do that, so that's one good thing on this. And I noticed that at first I thought this was plastic, but it seems to be actually metal. It's probably just cast aluminum, so it's actually pretty sturdy. And I checked out the bottom, it seems to be all aluminum. There's a few plastic pieces on here, but in this day and age, that's to be expected. We're gonna go ahead and start cutting some of the samples they sent us, which you'll get to see what they sent me. It's kind of interesting. Not really sure if I agree that all of that should be cut on this saw, but we'll go ahead and take a look. So give me a second and